Good to have you join us again. Mary Ikoku, women's rights advocate, joins us now on a political stew to talk more about women in politics. Good to have you join us.
Nice to have me.
We just spoke with Jemitola and Nina, and it's about women in politics. As much as I tried, sometimes I try to listen to what's not being said. I don't know how I do that, but most times I try to listen to what's not being said. So tell us your experience so far, because you've had a principal who was also in politics. Perhaps if we go through all of that before we get to look at what you're doing for women, that can also help us better situate what the problem, if there are, because I had a conversation and I've gone through your work, and I see that you believe that there is a big problem with women.
Of course.
Share if you would.
The problems are quite enormous, but they're not surmountable. I mean, there is hope that things can turn around if every one of us decides to make things better for the country. In the sense that the country, Nigeria, isn't going to develop optimally if women are excluded from that decision-making table. And if you exclude women, what that means is that the country is just basically running on a single engine, if I must say, because it's like you have, let's say, women make up more than 50% of our population. And if I must add, I always like to add, that we gave birth to 100% of the population, including you.
I'm not competing, not disputing that.
So when this group that make up half of your population is excluded, it means you're actually running without the full potentials that exist in your society. And you are not going to develop as a nation as you should. So it just behoves on all of us as citizens of this country, at the leadership level, to begin to think seriously about how to fix this problem, because it's really a big challenge, because this country needs to move forward. If you look at the federal government and the state level of government, you will see that I think there's a total of 1,364 elective positions. And out of these 1,364 elective positions, women occupy just 86. So, statistics like this should really make even the men begin to wonder, what have we done to our nation? You begin to say, no, we need to function better than we're doing. So we begin to look for ways, strategies.
But again, isn't that amazing that when we see, sorry to cut you there, when we go out now, the campaigns are hotting up, and what we see more women. That gives credence to the numbers you've given. We see more women in such rallies. So if we see more women in such rallies, how come we don't get to see a little bit of increase in figure of women also participating? Do they see themselves as mere cheerleaders or dancers?
No, what has happened is that what the society has done really is that they've given you, there's no law that precludes women from running in this country. But there's also an unwritten law that naturally takes you out of this space. So if I hear you, what you've just summed up is that, yes, you see the population of women across the country. You see them even voting at the polls. There is more women you see lining up. In fact, it's been women voting in men to run the government. Now, but you see that numbers, but you don't see that in representation when it comes to leadership, elective leadership, even appointive leadership. But I'm actually more interested in elective positions because, when it's appointive, I give you power, I own you, you are really responsible to one individual who is like a godfather figure. But when a woman is elected into office, they are a group, you're holding like a common trust of the society, of the people who elected you.
So it's more like the people, they've given you their power.
They've given you their mandate.
Their mandate.
So you're holding that position in trust.
In trust.
So you are answerable to a whole number of people, and you must deliver the common good. That's what elective position does to. It's just sad that
because
a lot of the politicians
I'm sure you listened to Jemmy Tola, because she said after her experience, maybe they'd never use that word, but it looks like a kind of compensation pretty much later. She was made a commissioner. So that's the appointive position you talked about now.
Yes. But you see, she's still running. She's still trying to, 10 years later, she's back to run. Why? Because she's not yet fulfilled. Because she hasn't really done the great things she wants to do for her constituency, you see? Because in that appointive role, who really gives directives? There's executive governor, and she's the commissioner, and she has to take directives from her boss. But if the people have sent her to the house, you will see that woman ensuring that her people are well represented in the house. And look at all the beautiful things she said here. You think all of that, that shows a woman who has really, she has her eyes on the ball, and she's really working towards achieving her goals. But you see, from her experience, she's been excluded without her even realizing what has happened. So maybe it just hit her 10 years later, and she's back. And that's the thing about women. We never give up.
I know you work with a lot of women, and you're also a PR expert and a media strategist. You know, once in the life of our nation, you had worked with someone, a woman, seeking elective office. What was the experience like? Because I've never had you on a program to ask you this, because it's something I've been yearning for, and I'm so excited you're here on the show today.
You know, when you have a woman on the job, she gives her whole heart into that job. I don't know what it is, but it's like women do these things because they want to prove a point. They just want to prove that it is possible. You see, I always tell people that women, if you want something said, call a man. But if you want something done, get a woman, and it will be done. And it's the same thing in politics. And you can see a reflection of all of this in our political system. They are not delivering the common good. A lot of the leaders, you know. But we can change these things by doing the right thing. And I don't think that is even enough to say, women, we have given you free forms. My late boss of blessed memory, one of the best women Nigeria has produced, she was a great brand. Her DNA was so up there, you know. She, working with her, I saw a woman who, did she really sleep a lot of times? No. If there's something that needs to be done, Dora will, Mrs. Akunyili will be up until it is done. And that's the passion that women bring to the table, to the job, to their role, even to their families. I must say something here that even I think that Nigeria is female. The earth itself is female. And that's why you hear things like Mother Earth. It is never Father Earth.
Okay,
and right now,
we're seek to change that
yeah,
so much later.
It's Mother Earth. Maybe they will change that later. And now in Nigeria, I think the Mother Earth
doesn't sound good.
Mother Earth is really screaming that this country is going really deep down, and we need more women on the table to fix a lot of things.
I know you've been doing quite a lot lately in your advocacy, training women. How is that coming on?
Oh, well, it's coming on really well. But, I mean, first of all, the testimonials. We try every training to get testimonials, feedback from these women. And the training, I mean, it's one thing for you to have money to run for office. And another thing is for you to have the right strategies, to know the things you need to do when it comes to developing your communication strategy, that, because communication is critical to the success of your any electioneering campaign. And then you need to develop a campaign strategy. You need to design your fundraising plan. How are you going to raise money to run election? Money is a big issue in in politics.
I'm looking at some of those clips my producers was just putting out there in some of your training we were able to glean.
Yeah.
Did you also tell them some of these problems and give solutions? If you're talking about money, which is very, very important in our own politics,
yeah.
What were those things you said to these women and how they can surmount the problem of money in our politics?
Fundraising is one way they can, run a good campaign, but they need to know how to raise funds, because the position of the woman and their role, their primary role or biological role, already puts them at disadvantage in terms of having a lot of money, you see. So while men are building their political war chests, the women are probably raising children, giving birth, and by the time they come up to really be integrated back into the workforce, they've come of age and they really want to run for office. They may not have that much deep pocket, and that's where we're having a big challenge with what these current political parties are doing with the hike in price of their forms and all of that. I am not one to call for free forms for women. If you say that is the way you are supporting women, I think that is tokenism. Because I want a situation where women should be able to pick their form. But form is a paper. It's a paper. Is it made of gold? This is paper. So what is in that paper that will make it cost 45 million? I think the political parties need to find more creative ways to make money than this selling of forms that excludes genuine people, men and women who want to serve this country. You see? So when you give women form for free, as a certain party have claimed that they do, but they really don't give them forms for free. We found out running this program and listening to the aspirants in our network, they really don't, a lot of them do not give them, the ones that claim they give them forms for free aren't really doing that. So they pay for expression of interest, they pay for that.
Is that a scam?
I don't know what to call it, but they give them like 50%. 50% isn't free. I am not I don't preach for free forms, because if you don't pay for something, you don't know the value.
But you shouldn't say it's free when it's not free.
But don't say it's free when it's not free. But if I pay for my form, I will go to every delegate. I would make sure that I work hard to win my primaries. But when you give me a form for free, it is very easy for you to tell me, after all, you didn't pay for the form. Now, what is your own? You have nothing to lose. Mary, calm down. We will dash you commissioner. What is that? We need to move this country forward, bottom line. And the only way we can do that, and one of the best ways we can do that, is for this country to start, in fact, it has become an emergency, to start taking from all the resources that exist in the women of this country. This training we're providing is very important for us, because where you don't have money, you must have strategy to win election. A lot of the politicians in this country cannot even design a campaign plan. They do not have, most of them do not have the winning strategies. They have the rigging strategies. But I know that there will be a time that this country will become so beautiful that your PVC will be worth your while, will get you your vote, that our votes will definitely count. When that time comes, your rigging strategy will not get you the votes, will not take you to anywhere. So we're beginning early enough to equip our women, Nigerian women, with the skills that they need to run for office and win. Because where you don't have money, you have the skills, you have the contact, you can do your you can fundraise, and you will win, because you have the right strategy. So you're asking whether we really taught them all of this. With the training, even men come to train them. There's a topic called winning elections, what men will not tell you. So it is that detailed. The curricula is a fantastic one, and every one of them that benefited from that training. I mean, their testimonials are out there for people to take, uptake. And it's been good.
Is it a regular thing?
It is done. The one we did 2 weeks ago was for the Southwest, women in the Southwest that are running for office. By next 25th of this month, there's supposed to be another one in the FCT for women in Abuja, Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, all of the environs. So it's going from one region to all 6 geopolitical zones.
So it's like a train.
Yes, it's a train, and it's a very successful train, and it's moving, and everybody that wants to win election, the woman must get on that train and get trained.
I think we should have more of you come to talk to us and possibly talk about outcomes, especially of those people that have attended such a workshop and training maybe in the days ahead. Many thanks for spending time with us here, Mary Ikoku.